responsible for maintaining Lula, but why would they take... Paimon doesn't get it. Huh? There seems to be some commotion over there. Let's go see what...
I'll ask one more time. Do you intend to withhold this month's emergency provisions?
The entire clan is counting on that food. We demand an explanation. How many times do I have to say it? I don't know anything about emergency provisions.
You dare deceive us? Those provisions are essential. Do you understand? Not some goods to be pocketed by greedy samurai.
You samurai think you can just do whatever you please? The Tenryou Commission will hear of this!
And who are you? One of Kurosawa's gang, no doubt.
What? We just happened to be passing by. We heard the commotion and came to see what the matter was.
I see. You seem to have come just at the right time. Perhaps you can help us. This is Kurosawa. He's a samurai and a member of the Shogun's army. They issue emergency In the past, we'd simply ask him for provisions and everything would be delivered. Now, he suddenly refuses to give us anything. He's keeping the provisions for himself. I just know it. We'll starve without them.
No one seems to care about us. We used to think Kurosawa was a kind man, but he's shown his true colors. He's the same as all the other samurai. It's no wonder all the visions have been confiscated. The Raiden Shogun doesn't need people like him helping her rule the nation.
This must be one of the people Ayaka asked us to help. But why would she ever want us to help someone like him? Maybe we should talk to Kurosawa and see what he has to say.
I've never even heard of these emergency provisions. I don't know whether it's rumors or whether they're trying to blackmail me. But either way, it's ridiculous. If I was hoarding supplies, would I still be the poor man I am today? My own family can barely get by as it is. No, if you'll excuse me, I've got other matters to attend to. That's the first bit of truth I've heard all day. The Shogun's army told me that I was unworthy of my vision. And they said I was slacking off in my work.
Well, that's strange. You were helping enforce the Vision Hunt Decree. Why would you be unworthy of your vision?
To be perfectly honest, I don't seem to remember the details. All I know is that I would perform certain things every month. But I don't recall what they were. And it's not just that.
Does it have to do with the missing emergency provisions?
I didn't take any. Like I said, if I was taking them for myself, I wouldn't be going through such hard times right now. To top it all off, my house was just raided by treasure hoarders. Which is why I came here in the first place. If you don't believe me, go find the treasure hoarders yourself. If there were any emergency provisions to be had, they would have found them.
He seems to be telling the truth, but we better confirm. Let's go round up those treasure hoarders and see what they have to say. We should be able to follow their tracks. They couldn't have gone too far.
We really outdid ourselves this time. All those samurai houses packed with goods. We really hit the jackpot. I mean, besides that one house.
You haven't seen anything yet. There'll be a lot more where this came from. Today's just the beginning. I'll be leading you all on an epic journey of pillage and plunder. Now you demand, boss!
These seem like the treasure hoarders we're after. Let's teach them a lesson!
Gather! Another test. I will have order!
Everybody stand back!
Submit for judgment!
Kamisato up. Suiyu. Cascade. Oh, there goes all the Mora. We worked hard to steal that, you know? Come on, boss. Think us.
Not bad, kid. You ever think of joining the treasure hoarders? We could use someone like you. Kurosawa. Oh, I remember. So he's the one who sent you after us, huh? Just our luck. I knew he shouldn't have hit that place.
So what did you see inside? Was it stuffed with food supplies?
Food supplies? You kidding? That place was a complete mess. All we found was a strange-looking box, hopefully with valuables inside. I didn't want anyone else to see it, so I was planning on opening it myself once we got back. But now that you've caught us, how about we make a deal? That little box for our...
You've got a deal. Now show us what's in the box.
Huh?
What the?
There's nothing in here but IOUs!
Yeah, a lot of them too. And they all seem to be made out to the owner of a general goods store. We better talk to this Miss Aoi and get to the bottom of this. As for you guys, you're free to go. Just pray that our paths don't cross again.
Yes, of course.
So, we redeemed ourselves for some IOUs. Does that mean we broke even?
Shut it. Let's just get out of here.
Welcome to Tsukumomono Groceries. We've got everything you need. Can I help you find something? Or perhaps there's something you want to inquire about? Ah, so you're friends of Kurosawa, I take it? Perhaps you're here to pay off his debts.
Whoa! Let's not get ahead of ourselves. We're just here to learn where they all came from. How did Kurosawa end up owing you so much money? Did he buy anything super expensive here?
Let me think. Kurosawa would come regularly to purchase large quantities of foodstuffs. He'd always put the payment on his own account. However, the price of provisions began to skyrocket recently, and his salary was no longer enough to cover the cost.
So that's how he was getting those emergency provisions. But why did he have to purchase a usual amount? If the prices increased, couldn't he just buy less?
Well, if you think about it, the citizens receiving the emergency provisions must have been carefully calculating how much they needed to sustain them each time. Kurosawa thought that it would be quite the disappointment for them if they found they didn't have enough, especially after such long and careful planning. So he deemed it necessary to take on the debt rather than let the people down.
Wow. Kurosawa was purchasing all the emergency provisions at his own expense. And no one ever appreciated what he did. They just complained and held him accountable.
People's attitudes will always reflect their circumstances. In the face of hardship, no, but if you ask me, Had Kurosawa told everyone the truth about the supplies from the start, of course, I'm sure there would still have been some unrest. What he was doing was truly a thankless deed. As for why he chose to spend his own money on emergency provisions and never tell anyone, I'm still not too clear myself. If you're still curious, why don't you go ask him yourself? I see. That reminds me, it seems that his vision was recently confiscated. Most unfortunate. If he doesn't clear the debt on his name, he'll have no choice but to sell that sword that is so dear to him.
Sword? What sword?
Oh, didn't he tell you? He possesses a very valuable blade. I've asked him about its origins. He told me that it was a gift from his father, that it was too precious to sell. In hindsight, I regret that I never made an offer on it. Everything has its price. At least, why don't you ask him about the sword yourself? Perhaps it'll even provide you with the answers you're looking for. Oh, but before you go, if you would kindly settle today's...
But we didn't buy anything!
Information is also a kind of commodity, wouldn't you? Don't worry. I won't charge much for information about Kurosawa. Nothing we ever discussed was explicitly confidential anyway. Oh, let me think. 2,000 mora should be a fair price.
At least we now know where the emergency provisions were coming from. Plus, we found out that Kurosawa has a priceless sword in his possession. Let's go talk to Kurosawa again and see if he can remember anything.
Presented them with a choice. Either they left or I drew my sword. They left. It turned out to be a real time saver, actually. Perhaps I should start using it more often. Did you manage to track down the treasure hoarders? Everything
That just about sums it up. It turns out that you really were distributing emergency provisions.
Strange. Is that really the kind of person I was? I don't really have any such recollection. Even after all you've told me, why was I purchasing emergency provisions for everyone? And why would I put myself in such a difficult situation? But I could not deny that when I brandished my sword to scare those two away, I could sense that my body was somehow... This sword was once wielded by my father. I remember once when I was young, I wanted to sneak out with the blade and show it off to the kids next door. My father ended up catching me in the act. What did he say? I can't seem to remember that either. It would seem that I forgot many important things when my vision was taken from me. All I can remember now is my father telling me that this blade bore his life's creed. And said to me, with this sword...
Hey, if you look carefully, there seems to be some words engraved on the hilt. Can you recognize the words?
Virtue and justice? Somehow those two words seem to explain ever taking on seemingly endless debts to make others happy. I guess that must have been my greatest ambition after all. But what use are virtue and justice? I purchased the provisions for those in need. The Tenryo Commission seized my vision, and the very people I was so desperately trying to help. And the irony of all of it is, I somehow still felt sorry when threatening them with my blade. I'm incapable of being a good person, yet I'm equally unable to be bad. I don't know what to do with myself.
Yet another troubled soul. when we get the chance, let's speak to Toma about Kurosawa's debt. The Yashiro Commission would surely help cover his expenses. In any case, we must never let him sell off that sword. Yeah, seems like losing all ambition is a terrible experience. Fortunately for us, you don't have a vision. Let's go find the next poor soul. Is supposed to be a famous sword master around these. Paimon heard that he's the present-day master of Meikyo Shisui art. So this is his dojo. Luckily, there's some people around. Let's go talk to them.
Nanako, don't worry. Sensei will be fine. Those thugs that challenged the dojo were strong, but he fought them all off in the end, didn't he?
Maybe, but I'm still worried about him. Things have gotten dangerous before in the past, but it's never shaken him.
It's just because he's been possessed, that's all. Once the exorcism has taken place, he'll be right as rain in no time.
Hey there! Did something happen?
Who are you? I don't care whether you're trespassers or just here to harass us while Sensei is impaired. Get out of here immediately! Don't make me draw my blade, or you won't live to regret it.
No! You got it so wrong! We just came here to...
Disciples?
Yep! We've heard all about the mighty master of Meikyo Shisui art. It's the whole reason we came all this way. But then we got here and overheard you talking about how he got possessed or something.
From the way you're dressed, it doesn't look like you're from around here. Please, accept my apologies. We've had so many people trying to cause us trouble recently that you haven't arrived at the best of times, I'm afraid. Sensei got possessed recently, and he's still recovering. I see you are earnest in your pursuit. Okay, how about this? My fellow disciple Nanako and I will explain Sensei's situation to you in a little more detail. Then you can decide whether to stay or to leave. Sensei's name is Domo, a name I'm sure you've already heard. Though self-taught, he mastered the art of the sword to a high level. He then proceeded to defeat many other prominent sword masters. He once said that his goal was to become the best sword master in the world. And so, even while training us, he continued to hone his own art. His fervor truly inspired us. But then...
Not long ago, Sensei had his vision taken away. He hasn't been the same since. He says the strangest things over and over. Junya and I have discussed it, and we both think that he's been possessed by an evil spirit. So we've asked the shrine maidens from the Grand Narukami Shrine to perform an exorcism. But if I'm honest, I still have my doubts over whether he'll completely recover.
The Grand Narukami Shrine? What's that?
You haven't heard of it? It's the largest shrine on Narukami Island. The head shrine maiden is reputed to have very close ties with the almighty shogun herself. Not that we'd have any means of involving the head shrine maiden, of course. But even one of the ordinary shrine maidens from the Grand Narukami Shrine would have clear power and authority to perform an exorcism. So don't worry, Nanako. Sensei is going to be just fine. The exorcism will take place this evening. You're both more than welcome to come and watch if you're interested.
So, losing your vision can cause possession? Guess we should come back this evening and see for ourselves.
arrive any earlier. You would have had to witness Sensei in one of his fits of madness. Just now, when Nanako was attending to him, she heard him whispering a few names to himself. When she asked him who the people were, he suddenly looked panic-stricken. It looked like he was in great distress. He was covering his ears and looking frantically around him with bloodshot eyes. All the while he kept calling those names. Some of them we knew. Others we didn't recognize. One of them was Anzai. He used to be a fellow disciple of Sensei's. His senior, in fact. Sensei wouldn't stop calling his name. Thankfully, the shrine maidens managed to subdue him. The ritual has now begun. All we can do is patiently await the result. Please, excuse me for a moment while I fetch some water. If he wakes up, he is sure to be thirsty.
Should we keep going further up? Is this definitely the right place? Let's look a little further up. Aha! Suspicious person sighted!
How did you catch up with me? Are you sure you're Domon's disciples? You move even quicker than he does, unless... I guess it's been a few years. Maybe his skills have improved again.
Excuse me? We're the ones asking the questions here. And what are you doing sneaking around these parts? You seem like bad news, mister.
Bad news? I'll have you know I trained side by side with Domon back in the day. Long before you ever showed up. I don't care to talk about that time anymore. But if you must know, I am Domon's senior.
His senior? Wait, that means you must be...
Anzai? Yes, that's me. Because I don't wish to see Domon or anyone else associated with him ever again. When we were young, we trained under the same swordmaster, studying Make-Yoshi Sui art together. I had begun training 5 years before him, and everyone looked up to me as a steady and dependable older disciple. Practitioners of Make-Yoshi Sui art seek to achieve stillness of mind, freedom from all agitation. So the majority of disciples are indifferent to rank and reward. I was no exception, but Domon was different. The first thing he did when he joined was go straight to our sensei and ask him, with a beaming smile on his face, how to become the best in the world. Sensei scolded him and told him that the art of the sword should not be used for such vain ends. Sensei said that coveting the title of the best swordmaster, I thought so too at the time. But Domon began making swift progress in his training and even started catching up with me. Only then did I realize that it was Domon who had long since freed his mind from all agitation. He was consumed by his singular desire to become the best in the world. He sought nothing less than perfection in the art of the sword.
Sure sounds like he meant business. So how come you don't want to ever see him again?
Because until he arrived, I was convinced that I would succeed our sensei as the master of Make-Yoshi Sui art. Of all the disciples, I was the most gifted. I had trained the longest. Everyone had high expectations from me. Domon's arrival changed everything. When we sparred, I lost not just the match, but my pride and my status too. I fled the dojo that day and never looked back. Later, I heard that he sparred with Sensei too. Sensei was advanced in years by then, and unfortunately that match used up every last ounce of energy in his body. After that, I wanted nothing further to do with him. Deep down, though, I still respected his mastery of the blade and his commitment to the art of the sword. So, when I heard rumors that he had lost his mind,
my first reaction was to dismiss them as false. How could he, of all people, have lost his mind? His mind was the sharpest of them all. He had practiced Meikyo Shisui art to perfection. I decided to quietly come and see if it were true. Then, to my complete astonishment, I heard him call my name. So you see, I came here not to cause him any harm. I just wanted to see for myself. Okay, you've heard my story. You should get back now. The exorcism is probably finishing.
Seems like we got it wrong this time. He wasn't here to mess up the exorcism at all. Still, Paimon's not sure we should bring him back with us. Let's go see how the exorcism's coming along.
Isn't possessed? Does that mean he's just lost his mind? But how is that possible?
Nanako, please. Try not to get agitated.
I am sorry. With what powers I have, I can find no sign of any malignant spirit having possessed Tomo. But spirits may take a myriad of forms in this world, many of which I cannot claim to have witnessed myself. Thus, I dare not rule out possession with complete certainty. And all is certainly not lost, for I received word not long ago that Lady Yae has taken an interest in your sensei's case.
Lady Yae? Is that the same Lady Yae that I think you mean?
The head shrine maiden of the Grand Narukami Shrine? That's wonderful news! Then Sensei will be sure to recover.
Correct. Lady Yae is most knowledgeable indeed, and has abundant experience in the exorcism of evil spirits and aversion of great calamities. I am unable to say for certain whether an evil spirit has possessed your sensei, but Lady Yae can give a conclusive verdict.
Excuse me, Miss Inagi, but I must ask, should we prepare a greeting gift for Lady Yae?
That won't be necessary. All that is required of you is your timely arrival at the Grand Narukami Shrine. I must leave now, but we will meet soon at the shrine. I wish Domon a full and speedy recovery.
Who'd have thought Lady Yae herself would have taken notice of our sensei's case?
Do you mean to say that Sensei isn't renowned enough to deserve Lady Yae's attention?
No, that's not what I meant at all. You misunderstand me. I just mean this is Lady Yae, the head shrine maiden. She has direct and close contact with the almighty Shogun herself. Anyway, you should join us too, tomorrow. Given that you've traveled all this way just to meet our sensei, we, the disciples of Meikyo Shisui art, will do our best to help you.
Sure! After all, everyone seems pretty excited about Lady Yae. Who knows? Maybe we'll be able to find out a thing or two about the Raiden Children from her.